Hello and welcome back to Fine Art Review. Today we're going to look at a Norwegian painter who is, fairly unknown, I suppose. I haven't heard about him earlier. It's actually one of the recommendations from you guys. Lars Hertevig, and a landscape painter at that. I'm realizing that these videos might be more focused on landscapes than anything else. But yeah, feel free, if you want me to analyze another type of painting, just let me know in the comments and we'll have a look at that as well. But this painting is incredible. I mean, Lars Hertevig was, I think, born in like 1830 or something like this. He died quite late, so 1903, is that correct? 1902. Really fascinating painter. Look at this. So, with the sort of academia type of techniques, sort of still, or maybe not even that, yeah, I guess so. The brownish palette, you know, the earth type pigments, and the national romantic type of look to the paintings. Lars painted somewhat different to other painters of his time, and it's such an intimacy in this painting. I feel like it's a coziness. I want to be in here, but the painting is called the Tarn. I think the Tarn is this type of swamp or something. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, I really wanted to look. I just saw this painting, I saved it, and I really want to look at it properly. Really spend some time on it. So this video might be a bit longer and a bit slower. So if you're into it, cool. If not, you can fast forward. You can change the speed of the video. Feel free to do that. Yeah, this is cool. So apparently Lars Hertevig was mentally ill at some point. And if you look at these type of artists, it is fascinating in a sense. I'm very much against romanticizing those type of things, whether it's alcoholism or any type of addiction forms, or any type of mental illness, because it tends to be romanticized if that person is an artist. The sort of destructive behaviors of whatever it is, really. But it's fascinating because there's another painter, Joakim, a Catalonian Spanish painter, who has a style that resembles this. If you go to where this is painted, Stavanger, you won't find trees like this, sticking up and sort of having this sense. Yeah, it's definitely trees. This is trees, and there's definitely similar trees, but you won't have this described. The landscape won't be described like this at all. There is a sort of, it's a huge part of a personality in this painting. The depiction of this landscape is, it's clear that it's a person's, I don't even know how to describe it. Mir does something similar, but he has so many paintings, and his progress into mental illness was so extreme and so clear, because he painted throughout it, and you can see it happening sort of throughout his paintings as well, and you sort of can see the aftermath too, when he sort of went back and was healthy, and more, I suppose, cured from his illness or whatever you want to call it. And Hertevig doesn't have that range in his sort of portfolio. I guess he wasn't as prolific, but it's fascinating. These type of trees sort of gives me that idea. It's something more in here than a landscape. It's not just trees. These are life forms of some sort. These are not disturbed, not deranged. What do you call it? Twisted or something. There's something in this that I can't put my finger on. But maybe some of you guys can. If I'd love to hear your opinions on this matter. But look at it. Ooh, we have some nice details in this one. Cool. So yeah, it's clear here, the brownish. The brown is everywhere. It's like an early Leviton type of painting. Brown, brown, brown. And brownish greens. It's nice. It's unfortunate how much it has cracked, but it is an old painting. And the same thing with the clouds. The clouds as well. This isn't natural forms. Definitely not. But it's clear that they're clouds. The values, the shapes, or not the shapes, not the gesture, the lighting is here is absolutely natural. I'd say the lighting, maybe not this, but this could also be like romanticized more or less. But the clouds are fascinating too. There's a lot to look at in this painting. This is why I enjoy it. There's so much, and the composition is so messy, sort of. You can see like the horizon isn't clear at all. Like it changes from here to here. It's a different inclination. But then you sort of have the trees standing more or less upright, and maybe there's a change here from here, so maybe that's a problem with the painting, how it was set up, but either way, there's something, or a lot of things that are off in this painting, but they're quite fascinating. This is also something, I feel like it's very symbolic, but maybe it's just a hunter, but there's a person in the mist here. Then you have a couple of ducks flying away. I'm not sure if it's 1, 2, 3. That's suppose how you're doing it. But it's cool. There's something sort of symbolic about that, I guess. Love it. Because you can also see that, I mean, Lars had a clear understanding of how the natural world looked. I'm wondering how much this is like conscious decision making, or conscious or not, or subconscious sort of action. But look at this, looking at this cloud, if in certain situations when you have rainy weather coming your way, or you can see it in the distance, but you still have like clear weather in front of that, you get these type of stretches in the clouds, these type of bright white clouds turning into something like dark grayish blue purpley type of things, almost looking dysmorphed. And you sort of have these, you have the cirrus clouds here, the sort of cumulus clouds rising a little bit exaggerated maybe. Look at this, the tiny purple, what are they called? These are real cloud situations and cloud relations. Look at this, I'm loving the form of that. Not with a sky like this, that probably wouldn't happen, but it's very clear that he had an incredible understanding of what nature looked like. There's no question about that. So I'm intrigued to to know. I really want to know if this was a delusion or if it was a genuine experience for him. Either way, I find it fascinating. It reminds me of that painting. What's the name of it? It's in Leonardo DiCaprio's film, the Before the Flood. What is his name? Hieronymus Bosch? Yeah, Hieronymus Bosch. The painting's called From the Garden of Earthly Delights. It sort of reminds me of that sort of chaotic feeling in a sense, but still is being true to nature in many ways. And it's quite fascinating. I love that idea of bordering to surreal, sort of. It makes for an interesting painting. It makes you wonder about the artist, you know. But it's very clear here. I mean, it's a good color use, and I have no complaints about this type of technique. It's not my preference. I mean, going into this amount in a painting is too much for me, and it is very, very early 1800s, you know. And it's not my preference, that's what I'm saying. That's just what I'm getting at. I love how this sort of looks like a man with a backpack standing on 2 legs on the hill. Very skinny legs. Yeah, I honestly I don't know what to say about this painting. It is too off for me, and I know very little of this type of methodology of painting. It's a little bit too old from what I used to looking at, and from what I'm used to analyzing. So this probably this is probably painted at a time where you would still grind your pigments, and you're always in the studio, so you couldn't even go out plein air. Painting, the tube wasn't invented, you know. It's just kind of makes it even more fascinating that he sort of have these value relationships in the clouds and with the sky and everything. I mean, down here it is very sort of 1800s very 1800s illustrated. But yeah, so maybe that's a thing, huh? Maybe that's something. Look at this. This also looks like a man. The trees almost turning into figures for Lars Hertevig. This sort of, there's a disturbed presence for sure in this, and I can't put my finger on it. Technique, I don't know anything about it. Anyways, I think that's it for this video. Next video we will be looking at Joakim, someone that I know a little bit more about and that I'm a little bit more passionate about. Maybe it'll be easier for me to sort of maybe analyze it, because it's also quite more modern. A more modern palette. Well, it is a modern palette that he's using and stuff like that. So we'll be looking at that next video. So don't forget to check in if you haven't seen the other videos. They are here on YouTube or on my Patreon page. The link is in the description. Like the video, subscribe. See you in the next one. Take care.